Hello and welcome back. God damn it. My name is Austin, and today I am technically 5 days away from graduating high school. I have three actual days to show up to, and then a diploma, and then finally the grad ceremony, and then I'm out of this bitch. So, along with 3 years of high school, I had to experience 3 years of high school English class. Not fun, especially when the three teachers I had skipped poetry, the only unit I cared about. They fucked me over for real. Like, all I wanted was to write poetry, and they were like, "No, we're gonna read Shakespeare instead because it's technically poetry." Kill yourself. Who said that? Who said that? Anyways, anyways, I've had to read many a things for English class. Some actually enjoyable, others made me want to die. So, to commemorate my upcoming graduation, I thought, let's take a trip through time. Let's rank every text I had to explore for English class. This includes movies, books, plays, and short stories. Not poems! Mm-mm. I've never. Now, I believe I have seven short stories, four novels, four plays, and three movies that were like actually supposed to be whatever uh, explored. That's the word that they wanted you to like dig deep and write essays about. I couldn't care less. Fuck Shakespeare. Who said that? So I'm gonna go through all of these. I've grouped them up by genre and then by year. I'm very nervous because I think I hated just about everything, but I'm also just really, really pessimistic sometimes. That's not the right word, but whatever. Who cares? To aid me in my endeavors, I have a notebook. I'll be looking at this periodically to help me with my things. And I also created a tier list. Shocker. No one's ever done that before. Whoa. In which I have five tiers. Right at the bottom, I was going to the top. I won't go at the bottom. At the bottom, we have Stranger Than Fan Fiction. It it shouldn't have even been posted on AO3, let alone published and studied academically. Right above that, we have No Pride, All Prejudice. I hate these books. I don't. Well, hate is a bit. I shouldn't say it's a strong word. I very much dislike these books. I don't think we should have read them. But, they can make it well on AO3. In the middle, we have Who Invited You to the Canon. This is yeah, you're fine, but does this need to be an academic setting? Does this need to be long standing? Do we need to remember? Thank you. Do we need to remember this? No, it's not that good. Be fucking real. Above that, we have one more chapter, self explanatory. I'm reading it, and I want a little more. Okay, I see you. And then at the top, after 30 minutes of deliberation and a 10-minute chat with ChatGPT, I finally. I had names for this one, but I forgot what they were. So I finally settled with my credit card information is, because I would give all my money up so I can reread this book for the first time. I feel like I should start with short stories because that's like the biggest thing. So I'm gonna do that. The first short story and only short story I remember reading in grade 10 in my English 10-1 class was A Long Walk to Remember. I think it was called, I don't know, A Long Walk to Remember. It doesn't matter. It was like the shittiest thing I've ever read. I actually couldn't stand it. It had horrible themes. I was bored the entire time. I wanted to shoot myself while reading it. Absolutely. Absolutely, I forget what bottom was. Is this worse than fanfiction? This shouldn't have graced anyone's eyes. This shouldn't have graced this author's brain. Why does this exist? It was that bad. No, I barely remember it. Some soldier goes AWOL and then it's like, hey girl! Ew, gross. After that, we have in my grade 11 year, it started off with Bartleby the Scrivener by Melman Herville. Herman Melville, thank you. This is the author of Moby Dick. Bored, uninspired, and you know what? This book is about prejudice, and I am prejudiced against it. Because, I mean, it wasn't really that good of a representation, if you will. I know, no idea when it was published. I know it's like old and it like opened people's eyes to autism or something, but like, oh, I have a bookmark. Sorry. But I just couldn't care for it. Bartleby was like kind of interesting, but I didn't care about the other characters, especially the POV. Like I remember his name. He sucked. He was so boring and so dry, and it really put me off from reading Moby Dick, which wasn't planning on it anyway. So that's not a big deal. But yikes! After that, further not impressed, we have The Cask of Amontillado by Edgar Allan Poe. This is the guy where he like gets revenge. That's the story. Where's the plot? He walks down a tunnel and then like throws him somewhere and covers him in stones or something. This was not a great introduction. Jesus. This was not a good introduction into Edgar Allan Poe, nor did it bring me any interest. Except Montresor was kind of fun. It's kind of a fun name to say. But like everything else was short story was just okay, next. Like I don't really get why it's popular. I don't need it in my life. Like, hmm. I don't I don't really see it. I just was so bored. This is who invited you to the canon? Because it's like, why? It's a fine short story, it might be up someone else's alley, but does it need to be some academic powerhouse? It like what are the themes? Revenge, possible. He doesn't learn a lesson. Like, be so real. Contrast that to The Telltale Heart by Poe. Damn! Damn! Where was this? Where was this in Amontillado? Because this devoured. The paranoia felt real. The motivations felt real. I was invested the entire time, and I wanted to read more Poe after it. Unlike Amontillado. The Telltale Heart is the first text going into I forgot what it was called, the credit card information. Because, yeah, I was hooked from the beginning to the end, nonstop. I wanted more. I would read a full story about that. After that, we move on to the short stories of grade 12, English 30 1. Yikes. Actually, I shouldn't say yikes. Well, yeah, no, I think I can. The first short story we read was The Painted Door by Sinclair Ross. Okay. Now, the symbolism in it was kind of cool about the storm and the fire and how that like contrasts your emotions. Like, okay, you have a point. Did I care about anything else happening in the story? No. No, I didn't care. The main character, boring. Steven, confused, but probably hot. The husband, who? And it didn't help that like this was really in class. We like walked in and everyone's like, how do you feel about her cheating? And me and my bestie, hope you're watching this, we were really confused because it's not explicitly stated that her and Steven sleep together. They lay in bed together, but it never specifies that they've had sex, that they're naked, or anything. So I just assumed she was like, "You can't go home. Okay, we'll sleep in the same bed because we don't. This is like 1800s. We don't have couches or whatever. We don't have extra shit, and they're poor." And then the guy comes home and then he's like, "Oh, you cheated. I'm gonna fucking kill myself." And I was just so pissed because no one, specifically the English teacher, I have problems with her. Mm, mm. She kept like saying we were wrong, and I'm like, unless it's explicitly stated, it can be up for interpretation. That's the fucking point. We're supposed to be interpreting these how, I mean, like, obviously there's wrong interpretations. You can't go, "Oh, Macbeth is about the power of friendship." Actually, no. No, not well. Power of gay lovers. We'll get to that. But it's just there's no really implication that they had sex, and I thought, like, it's kind of a Shakespeare classic. Guy thinks she's cheating, but she didn't, and so he kills himself. Like, and then we read Othello, which is basically that. I have so much beef with Miss O. O, watch your back. Sorry, that's so mean. She's a nice teacher, but like, I won't forgive you for that. After that shitstorm, we have Boys and Girls by Monroe. I don't remember the first name. Emily Monroe kind of sounds nice. So we'll go with that. This is a short story that follows a girl dealing with societal norms. Oh yeah, it was kind of just that. I mean, there's the point where they refer to indigenous people as savages. Oh, like okay, interesting. But everything else about the novel or short story was I just really didn't have an opinion on any of it. The foxes were a nice touch. I thought like, yeah, this is symbolism. I didn't care for anything else. It was very obvious theming. Like there wasn't much to dig deep into. It was very obvious about women's expectation, societal expectations, and the role they play, and especially like growing up, how they're expected to become more feminine as they grow up, but they're allowed to be wild when they're young. Next text is actually something that was like probably regarded as the best short story to have been read in all the years. And this is like the only text that all the English classes read at some point. I don't know anyone who like skipped this text, which is interesting because I never experienced poetry. I know someone who skipped Shakespeare all 3 years. How is it that they managed not to skip On the Rainy River? Now, is it the best short story text? I mean, it's popular, it's well liked, it fits just about every diploma topic. It's a good story and it shakes the expectations of the reader. So, in a way, I think that it makes perfect sense. And I enjoyed it. I was gonna be like, but however, but no. I mean, like, it was good. One more chapter, please. I really liked it, and I liked as it's so quotable. I was a coward. I went to war. Okay, banger. What would you do? Would you? I don't remember the quote, but I had it quoted in one of my essays. Banger. Like, it just eats a lot, and it keeps eating. Good for her. And I'm glad this is a short story that everyone experienced. Moving on from short stories, that was all of them, right? Yeah. I figured we'd do plays next, because that's the next most things I've read with four. Three of them are Shakespeare's, so don't expect much praise. The Shakespearean text I read in grade 10 was Romeo and Juliet. Bitch, what the fuck was that? Why are like greatest love story? No. Bitch, and people need to stop saying that. They're gonna get people killed. That's like the point of those books. Like, don't let love kill you or whatever. I don't remember because the book was so fucking bad. Because I couldn't care less about it. Doesn't help that the teacher did not teach it well. He put on a recording of it, just as he did with our novel. I was like, yeah. Like, really? At least, because like the other teachers obviously put on recordings of it, but they taught the text and they like went into what certain lines mean and they taught you how to read Shakespeare. He just put it on and expected us to understand. And then, of course, like, this is the end of the English class, so it's like, I really don't care anymore. It was just bad. Bad themes, bad messages, same thing. Bad story. I just truly could not do it. The uh, play I read in grade 11 was Macbeth. Whatever. Macbeth, of course, is an interesting one. Um, I did have to write an essay on it, but I also kind of ate, so it wasn't that bad. The other two I didn't have to write essays for, but this one I did. Doesn't matter because once again, I did pretty good, surprisingly. I don't think I should have, but 20 was a weird year, so yeah. Overall, I thought it was alright. Some parts were definitely more clicking in my brain than Romeo and Juliet, and I cared about some of the motivations. I also wrote gay fan fiction for one of the projects and got 100 on it. That severely helps. In case you're wondering, we had to do project. We wrote blog posts from the perspective of a character. So I chose Macduff, and then he was gay from Malcolm. We all read. I think it was Act 3, Scene 5 or 4. We all read that. There's no mistaking them for anything but homos. So, am I wrong? No. The Shakespearean text I read in grade 12 was Othello. Now, was this as good as Macbeth? No. Did the teacher teach Shakespeare better than my grade 10? Yes. I think I actually learned a little bit. Wasn't paying much attention because I knew I didn't have to write an essay on it and had like nothing to have in regarding it. However, I feel like I learned a little. However, she put on a movie that skipped multiple scenes that are in the actual play, and I just, yeah. I mean, the only reason I was paying attention was because Iago was so hot. But overall, I just was like, okay. The final play I had to read, because it's weird, because I think we're supposed to do, like, we're supposed to do Shakespearean or old drama and then a modern drama. But last year, 20, we didn't get to it. We were supposed to read The Crucible. And in 10, I heard nothing about this, so I don't know if. I mean, he himself said that it was supposed to happen, but didn't say what text or whatever. However, in 2 days, we were able to read One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Dale Wasserman, not the novel by Dan Kessie, I think. Doesn't matter. I have it in the mail and I'm very excited to read it because One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, despite having all odds stacked against it, definitely was going to have questionable representation, had a pedophile main character reading last minute when I am not paying attention, and just generally did not care to read this. It became my absolute favorite text I read in English class. I'm actually utterly obsessed with it. Could not care more than I do right now because it was a masterpiece. I was invested. I was, I just, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like, Slay Queen, you picked something I liked. As much as I will complain about my authority teacher, you picked, there's two things that make my top of the tier list from this year. So, she did something right. Go her. It was so good. And as I mentioned, I bought the novel. I'm gonna annotate it. It's gonna be awesome. I literally can't read anything until I get it and read it. Whew. I'm so happy that we rushed through it. I was like, there's no reason to do modern drama. Just skip it. I'm so glad we didn't. After that, we have the novels, of which I also read 4 in grade 10, my 10 year. We read To Kill a Mockingbird. Outdated, incredibly anti feminist, written by a white woman. Why do we still read this? Your guess is as good as mine. I know there are about 100 other novels written by people who experience racism that are about racism that we could read in grade 10. And yet, To Kill a Mockingbird and The Help are the most popular ones. The two that are written by white women. Huh? It truly baffles me, their choices here. No, we're not going to pick the POC authors. No, I like white women. Not only that, but the novel was incredibly dry, incredibly dull. I could not care less. Scout was expected to be a woman. It's like, out of context, I was like, but like, the book pushed that she should have been a woman to make her father not struggle. Because everyone's like, oh, you need to keep control of her. And she's like, I guess I'll be a feminine woman so that he doesn't deal with it. Like, no, be you, girl. So I'm kind of like, not only are you picking a text that is not very, I mean, like, yeah, the justice system, that's the word I'm looking for, the justice system is still very problematic with its racial inequality. However, there's probably better choices, better texts, better novels, like The Mayor of Thieves, which is a novel I fucking adore, and is also in bulk in the library. I've worked in there, and I've seen all those. I've seen all the thug novels, the the hate you give, and I know that the author's problematic for some reason, but considering To Kill a Mockingbird is telling us that women should know their place, I feel like we can go there. Overall, ultimately, I mean, I understood it, and it's not the worst thing. There were moments that I enjoyed, but God, can I talk a lot of shit about it. So it's going into my No Pride, All Prejudice, just like the characters in that novel. In grade 11, my 20 English class, we read two novels. The first one was It's Kind of a Funny Story by Ned Vizzini. Girl, what the fuck? It was, I mean, like, it was fine. It had its moments, but there's just some really interesting lines. I don't remember what it was, but I genuinely, like, jaw dropped for 10 minutes. I was looking around because I could not comprehend why they put that in the novel. It was something about how, like, milk was taking away their testosterone or something, and I was like, what the fuck? So, it had its moments, but I also thought it had some really good moments. There's the line, men are from the very early age told that they have balls line. And I know that sounds weird without the complete quote, but it's very interesting, introspective, and I thought that was great. line at a great moment. So, yay! But considering most things in this novel, it wasn't that good. I just was like, what is happening? Ugh, the main character was not that likable. Not was her friends. It was this, yeah, they sucked. So, yeah, it's why is this in the canon? It's not. Who invited you? No one. But I hope you don't make it anytime soon because you not that good. And then the other book we read was, and it's the only book I currently own, technically, because I won't own the play of Cuckoo's Nest. Ciao. Lord of the Flies. Yikes. This is tabbed to oblivion. You actually can't find shit in here. It's too tabbed. And I didn't realize that until like three-fourths in, and I was like, I can't find anything that I tabbed because I'm colorblind and all these tabs blend together. Go you. However, that aside, my essay ate, and so did the characters. I was invested. I didn't think I would be. I was actually kind of not excited for it. I was like, do I need this? No. Do I want to do something else? Yes. I'm glad Lord of the Flies was my book because it was good. I actually enjoyed it. I was like, okay, okay, I like the themes. I wish I knew how to annotate properly because that is a mess and I hate looking at it. It is a monster. It has made, however, my now current annotations much cleaner and concise. That's a bonus. Yay! Overall, it was a good book. One more chapter. Like, yeah. One chapter finished, I was kind of like, I wonder what happens next. I wonder what happens next. So I'll give it, I mean, that was my favorite English teacher and one of my favorite teachers altogether. I'll give it to him. He ate. He ate choosing that one. I do wish we got to the Crucible, but too little too late. The final novel I got to study was in grade 12. Shocker. Not like there's a pattern here. In my 30 level English, I read Educated by Tara Westover. First off, so the thing about it's kind of a funny story and Educated is that these were like choice books. Like they gave you 6 options or like whatever. They give you a couple options and they're like pick, and we're gonna make sure someone else reads your book so that you can like discuss it and stuff. And the only other person who picked Educated was my bestie. So I basically just gotta like every couple classes, not every couple classes, like every 2 weeks we got together and we just gotta gab about this book that was genuinely incredible and heart wrenching and actually affected my mental health. Fun fact: when I was reading it, like for a week I was so offset mentally after reading all the things her brother did to her. I couldn't think straight. I was genuinely messed up while reading this book. But it's such an important story that needs to be told, and I'm so glad she wrote it. And I'm so glad I had the opportunity to read about it. The teacher didn't give adequate trigger warnings for the book. She just like, yeah, there's what I think she just vaguely was like, there's some abuse in it. I don't think she even said like abuse. I don't remember abuse being on there. I'm trying to remember. There's one warning on it, and it's like this book was full of them. Ignoring just the consistent familial abuse and neglect she faced, insane medical trauma, and like car crashes. There was intense burns. There's like 3 car crashes. There was like 2 times where she very deeply describes someone getting burned, her brother's leg, and then her father like entire top being like completely burned off. Jesus Christ. I feel like she could have added more trigger warnings because I would have liked to know that going in. I really would have liked to know that because these are like the things that bothers me the most. I'm like abusing. I shouldn't say that, but Like anything that describes medical stuff bothers me extremely, and I wish I knew that. Despite that, the book was actually fantastic. I I'm not gonna pull up the quotes because I don't have the time. Truly an amazing writer. I would give her all my money. I'd give her the world. Please, girl, take it. Now, this video is a little long, so to shorten it a little bit, I've decided to kind of cut the movies just as a little overview. I watched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I put it in one more chapter. I watched Truman Show in grade 11, one more chapter, and I watched King's Speech in 12, and I put it in Who Invited You. Just a little perspective. Now, this tier list comes from someone who actually really enjoys reading. Note how, I almost touched the mic, most of the things are low, are not enjoyed by someone who actually likes reading. Now take that and apply it to most students who hate to read. There's a reason students don't read and why literacy, literacy rates are going down. And that's because we're not really giving reading any interest. We're picking dry texts. We're making them pick it apart like vultures. And they're not enjoying it. No one wants to spend time digging through Shakespeare. They don't understand it. They don't care for what's happening. And you haven't cared to put that much effort into it. Of course, people have an aversion to reading. This is not to shame or shade any English teachers, including my own, even though I've torn them down a little bit. I just want to put into perspective why reading an English class is often like people's least favorite. And now, also, there's lots of things like not liking essays, which, yeah, me for real. And there's people who are not gonna like reading no matter what, or who aren't gonna like most texts that you can present in English. But I really think the key is to working with the students more and understanding their interests and giving more choice and maybe moving away from old shit because no one understands Shakespeare and there's nothing in the real world that making them understand Shakespeare will help them with unless they're going into Shakespeare acting. It is actually useless. So why do you keep forcing it when we could just do something modern that people, I mean, once again, the only modern drama that I read was well liked in the class. In fact, it was one of the best. I mean, it was my absolute favorite, and most people really liked it. Thought it was the best of the year. Maybe not all the years, and some maybe had it behind Rainy River, but people loved it. In other classes, people loved Streetcar Named Desire because it was modern, because it was, I mean, and once again, like, modern is just, like, if it's not called a classic, it's modern. The, this play came out in 1950, how Streetcar, maybe 1940s, maybe 1960s, girl, I don't fucking know. These take place still really old, but people enjoy them. I think we as a society need to understand. I don't know why I said society. I think the school district and the education person who creates curriculums needs to get inside the head of students and really understand what makes reading enjoyable and balancing that with what is necessary critical analytical skills. There you have it. We have my list, my personal rankings of all the texts. I don't know if I'll have a visual. I might. Ooh. And that is my closing statement to why I think this should be done, why I think we need more questionnaire. I don't know. We need to review more about what makes reading enjoyable and what is necessary. But overall, no, actually, no. I just hated English class, so I can't really say, but, like, no. But, no. I don't know what else to say here now. Bye.